Have you ever been playing a WWE game and thought to yourself, this is cool and all, but I wish these guys were roided out of their fucking minds and had superpowers? Probably not, but if so, here's WWE All Stars, because it has all of those things. Released in March of 2011, WWE All Stars came out right in between SmackDown vs. Raw 2011 and WWE 12. All Stars was a very different wrestling game though. Instead of being a simulation-based wrestling game like what SVR was starting to turn into, WWE All Stars was a more arcade-style wrestling game, harkening back to games like WrestleMania the arcade game on Sega Genesis. Now I'm gonna be honest and say, WWE All Stars is probably my favorite wrestling game of all time. Unfortunately though, I don't think WWE All Stars really gets the appreciation it deserves.
3 cheers for the return of our master fry cook, SpongeBob! Hip hip! Hooray!
And 3 cheers for the fry cook who took my place while I was gone. Squidward! Hip hip!
And it's because of that that I believe WWE All Stars is the most underrated wrestling game of all time. But what exactly makes WWE All Stars so good, you may ask? Well, hang on, I'm getting to it. WWE All Stars is good because WWE All Stars is a game that takes everything the SVR games were doing at the time and throws all of it out the fucking window. Simulation style gameplay? What's that? Here's a bunch of big ass dudes who can fly. WWE All Stars was also pretty different than SVR just due to the fact that All Stars gave you a lot of choices when it came to legends to play as. When it came to the inclusions of legends in SVR, it was always hit or miss most of the time. WWE All Stars though said fuck it and gave us 15 legends and 15 modern superstars. Actually booting up the game, no way, this is a WWE game? Right off the bat, this menu tells you everything you need to know about the game. You got Hulk Hogan on one side of the menu looking like he inhaled a bunch of steroids for breakfast, and of course the game mode selection on the other side of the screen. Speaking of game modes, there's quite a lot in this game. Now sure, there's not as many match types and modes as there was in SVR. You're not going to find a season mode or fulfill your fantasy in this game, which is probably a good thing because I don't even want to know what WWE All Stars Fulfill Your Fantasy would look like. Instead, the main game modes consist of Exhibition, Path of Champions, and Fantasy Warfare. In terms of actual match types in Exhibition, there's your standard one-on-one, tag team, steel cage, extreme rules, triple threat, fatal 4-way, nothing too out of the ordinary. It would have been cool to see maybe 1 or 2 more match types, but for what this game is trying to accomplish in just being an arcade style fighting game, having a limited amount of match types kind of works. The same can be said for the arena selection. There's only 6 arenas, but man, these arenas are awesome. The SmackDown Fist stage has never looked better, and I absolutely love the look of the SummerSlam arena in this game. What I love so much about this game is that it's not just the wrestlers themselves that are over exaggerated. Instead, THQ chose to make everything over exaggerated. The arenas, the entrances, everything just looks like it's larger than life. This extends to the gameplay as well. WWE All Stars is absolutely incredible when it comes to the gameplay. The best way I can describe the gameplay for WWE All Stars is that it's absolutely all over the place. I don't mean that in a bad way though. Matches in this game can get pretty chaotic due to the arcade style nature of the gameplay. Extreme Rules matches in this game are super exciting with weapons everywhere for you to just whack the shit out of your opponent with, and steel cage matches are, well, about what you would expect, but they can still be pretty fun. As for the wrestlers themselves, every wrestler just feels completely different and plays exactly how you would expect them to. All the wrestlers are separated by class, with guys like John Cena, Undertaker, and Hulk Hogan being brawlers, Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, and John Morrison being acrobats, Triple H and Bret Hart being grapplers, and Big Show and Andre the Giant being, as they're called in this game, quote-unquote, the big man. Anyways, I love this class system because, as I said, everyone feels different. A grappler doesn't play like a brawler, and a brawler doesn't play like a grappler. Speaking of the wrestlers, the roster for this game is pretty stacked. You got legends like Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, The Rock, Bret Hart, and HBK, while on the superstars side of things, you got guys like John Cena, The Miz, John Morrison, and Rey Mysterio. Not counting DLC, this game has a roster of 30 superstars, which honestly isn't bad. The DLC had guys like Road Warrior, Hawk and Animal, R-Truth, Big Boss Man, and Mark Henry. Unfortunately, the DLC isn't available anymore, but hey, at least the base game's roster is good. In fact, the only way to play with the DLC anymore is by owning the 3DS version, which had the DLC included. Another thing I love about the gameplay of WWE All Stars is just how in-depth it is. Obviously, because it's a wrestling game, you have the ability to reverse moves, but this game takes it a step further and lets you reverse a reversal. It can make for some really awesome sequences, and it's really damn cool when you're able to pull it off. Another thing about reversals is that you're able to straight up block your opponent from reversing your move if you time it right. Reversing in this game is actually a challenge as well, since you really have to be precise with your timing to pull it off. Another great thing about the gameplay is just how impactful everything feels. When you're hitting a combo in your opponent, you really feel every punch because everything just has a sense of impact to it. Everything from regular strikes to signature moves and finishers. The fighting mechanics in this game are absolutely incredible. Being able to just knock people in the air and punch them continuously is really cool, and I love being able to fly across the ring without worrying about being too far away from my opponent. Overall, the gameplay of WWE All Stars is really awesome. Honestly, I think this is the most fun I've had playing a wrestling game in a long time. WWE All Stars perfectly nails the arcade style gameplay, and that's why I love this game so much. It really feels like I'm just playing a remastered version of WrestleMania the arcade game. With all that being said though, I think I've said all there is to say about the gameplay, so how are the other modes like? Spoiler alert, they're really damn good. The first game mode I want to talk about is Path of Champions. I'm gonna be honest, this is probably the mode I spent the most time on as a kid. Path of Champions is, in my opinion, the best mode in this whole game. Essentially, all you do is pick from 3 paths, Undertaker being the World Heavyweight title path, Randy Orton being the WWE title path, and DX being the path for the tag titles. Each path you choose will give you promos from each superstar, and these promos are really well done. This very easily could have been some lazy Mortal Kombat style tower-like game mode, but instead THQ decided to flesh it out with these great looking cutscenes and made the mode more interesting because of them. Seeing Undertaker and Paul Bearer back together again, DX being DX by breaking the 4th wall in their promo, and bald Randy Orton just being a straight menace is just something I really love about the promos in this mode. As for the paths themselves, all of them play pretty much the exact same. When you actually pick a path, you'll be tasked with having to win 10 matches before you can reach whichever championship you're trying to go for. I think the thing I love the most about this mode is that it feels like an actual challenge to get through. When getting near the end of The Undertaker's Path of Champions for this video, I got my ass kicked by Hulk Hogan and The Rock. Eventually though, once you do make it to the end of a path, you win whatever championship you chose and get a little celebratory cutscene at the end. Path of Champions is really fun, and as I said, I believe it's the best part of this whole game. However, there's one more mode that I believe is even better. Fantasy Warfare is absolutely incredible. This takes the whole Legends vs Superstars thing that WWE All Stars as a whole is centered around and makes it an actual game mode. Essentially, Fantasy Warfare is you playing through dream matches such as John Cena vs Hulk Hogan or Big Show vs Andre the Giant. What I love the most about this mode is they actually get you excited to play these matches by having little promo packages play before each match, and they're edited together in a way that makes it seem like the wrestlers are actually talking to each other. The actual matches themselves are really fun, and they offer a lot of variety because you're not playing as one person throughout the whole mode. You're constantly playing someone new. You're even able to choose who you want to play as for these matches, so you make the decision of who you feel is the greatest warrior or the pride of Scotland. This mode is just a blast to play through though, and I absolutely love it. Overall, WWE All Stars is an incredible WWE game. I was surprised when replaying the game for this video just how well it holds up even almost 13 years later after its release. It really is a shame this game doesn't get talked about more often because, as I just said in this video, it really is a great wrestling game. I just wish we could get another good arcade style wrestling game like this again. I said a good arcade style wrestling game. Yeah, I give up.
Meanwhile.